Hey guys, what's going on? This is going to be a pretty lengthy video, so if you care to hear me talk for a pretty long time and you can, bear hearing my voice, just sit back, get your popcorn, and listen. And everything is going well. Excuse me, my nose. I have this job. It's not really an interview because the interview was done over the phone, but I have to come tomorrow. I have to go out pretty far, but it's worth it. I have to give 2 forms of ID, do a drug test and a background check for a pretty gainful employment. It's going to be paying $18 an hour, and it's a little bit like the last job. I'm going to have to most likely get up pretty early and come home late, but if I'm going to obtain my vehicle, or I could leave here and you know rack up some money and get my own place, it's all good with me. Because at the end of the day, I just want to make the people that care for me proud, and I want to just be on my own. That's how I learn, when I'm on my own. But a few things I want to just preface before I start this video. I want to just say two things. I'm not using marijuana anymore because the Bible talks about addiction, and I felt like using it daily would lead it to an addiction. It would lead to me using it for every aspect of my life. So I'm not currently using marijuana. But I'm glad I did, because my objective was to open up my spiritual side and to treat my migraines, my headaches. But at least on 3 occasions, it opened up my spiritual side. So I want to just throw this in here. Last year, around this time, maybe around December, I was using marijuana. This was in Florida, where it's punishable if you were caught with it, versus here it's decriminalized. But I was ingesting it with my food. I want to just say this really quickly. God, the Lord, really looked over me, because it's been a lot of times when I could have went to jail, I could have been hurt, and he always looked over me. And as a result, I'm gonna sacrifice the luxury of pleasure for the next 13 years, because that's how much I've indulged in pleasure. I've wasted 13 years of my life concerning pleasure. It's just been a waste, and I don't currently engage in any form of it, because it's one thing to give up, touching yourself, but it's another thing to still have that mindset of just a sexual. I won't call myself a deviant. I wouldn't call myself a deviant. I was not a deviant, but I was very sexually loose. And it's nothing that I was born with. It was more of the tolerance of sex increased over time. So I'm going to refrain from any form of pleasure regarding sex for the next 13 years. But the Lord has watched over me, and I feel I need to sacrifice something to Him and live how He wants me to live for the next 13 years. Well, I'm going to live how He wants me to live forever, but for the rest of my life. But I remember one time I was driving, and I just consumed some marijuana. I got hungry, and I was driving to the Zaxby's, which was like not far away. It was like less than a mile away from the motel I was at. And a cop literally was driving behind me. And at the time I believe I had like the bad plates. I was high on weed and I was driving and I didn't get stopped or pulled over. And the car, I'm pretty sure it reeked of marijuana, but I wasn't pulled over. And I'm just thinking, looking back, I'm just thanking God for just looking over me, because I'm beginning to feel that spirit. I'm beginning to feel the spirit every day, where I'm beginning to come to my senses. I'm beginning to just renounce a lot of the things I once supported. I'm debating on if I should take down some videos, but I feel like I should keep them up because I don't have nothing to hide, and I don't believe in taking anything down, because anything you post on here is here forever. It's not going to go away. That picture of JD Vance dressed in drag it was like 14, 15 years ago, but it resurfaced online. So what you post on here is forever, unless something happens where civilization is wiped out. But I feel like with like anything, we'll regain access to whatever happened. Like just how there are remains of past civilizations. Everything we have right now, people are going to watch one day. So I don't feel like I have nothing to hide. I'm not ashamed of anything. But I lived for about a year. I'll say a little over a year, because I've had breaks. When I was 20 years old, that's when I lost my virginity. And y'all know that portion of my life. I had a near-death experience. I didn't have sex for like a whole year. Then I went right back to it. The only times I didn't have sex was 2016, 2018, and that's about it. Because I've had either a near-death experience or I had a spiritual awakening. But this is the only time I can say that I really feel the Spirit of God in me. Before, it was just fear. It was the near-death experience. And what I believe are, I've had little previews of what hell could be like if I don't change my ways. But right now, I am sincerely giving up the luxury of pleasure to the Lord, because I feel that's what I should do while I'm on this earth, is repay for all the loose, nasty behavior I engaged in for 13 years. Because it's not about just not watching porn, not touching yourself, reading the Bible. You have to sincerely put your mind you have to put yourself in the mindset of you're a child of God, you're a servant of God. So just not watching porn, but you have thoughts, you may have bad thoughts in your head, you may have impure thoughts in your head, but you just don't act on them. You have to put your mind, you have to have that child, that servant of God mindset, embedded in you. So for the next 13 years, this is what I'm going to be doing, and I'm okay with it, because I feel a lot better, because that spirit, that gay spirit is slowly leaving out of me, because I'm coming to my senses. So I want to first start off by saying, and y'all who watch me know my story, but I had a really bad perception of women growing up. I always felt that women nagged, they were irritable. At least the one that I grew with, they break up families. And these are things I'm working on. I'm not perfect. The relationship with my father is currently dead. I don't know what the future brings, but I'm trying to heal at this point in my life. And I've had just bad representations of women to where my hatred drove me into an alternative way of living. And I feel that's a lot of people in the rainbow community. I feel it's mostly women, but there's also men too. When women are molested, they're raped, they're heartbroken by a male, they're treated like dirt by males, they may go the other way. And let me just tell you right now, the grass isn't greener on the other side. My point of this video, my message of this video is, don't do anything like how I did. Because like I said, I told you I'm coming to my senses now when I have the spirit in me. I want to tell you this. I've never been with I'm trying to think. I didn't have like a whole bunch of sexual partners, but, and and all of them I don't know. I don't keep in contact with. I don't know their whereabouts. I don't know what they currently are in life right now. But I have never been, and I'm not going to, but I've never been with a male with very feminine characteristics. Now, most people would call that a trans female. I can distinguish the difference between the two, but I've never been with a male with female characteristics. I've been with women before, the wrong kind. I've been with trans women, and that's pretty much it. Now, what I'm trying to say is, the whole point of this video, the women that have, I'm not saying all women, but women, because you don't necessarily have to be a Christian to be a good person, but women with a lot of issues relating to, and it's not all of them, but women with a lot of issues relating to childhood, no father, a lot of the time they turn out to be prostitutes, strippers. They go down the wrong road. And maybe I could speak to women, because I haven't been with a lot of women before, biological women. I've never been with a lot of biological women, but women who are identify as lesbians, they tend to have issues relating to no father, being molested, being raped. The same thing with trans women. I'm just gonna say it. They have issues as well with being molested, raped, no father, trauma. I want to tell you this right now. Don't mess with people like that. If you're a man listening to this video and you have any animosity in your heart towards women, and you feel like it's more liberating as a male to do your own thing, which is what I did, and you want to date your own gender, date trans women, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you this right now. They could be a lot worse than what you think women are, and I'm telling you from experience. A lot of them have mental health issues, and it's not because they want to be the other gender. Because I've made videos explaining that I understand them, but I didn't talk about the fact that a lot of them deal with molestation, they deal with rape, they deal with growing up in broken homes, they deal with PTSD. You can't build a relationship with somebody that has trauma, has mental illness, and if you have it yourself, it's not going to work out because both of you are going to be leaning on one another for emotional support. And not all of not I'm not going that route anymore, but another thing is too, a lot of them tend to be very sexually promiscuous. They have very in spite of like the hormones, they tend to be very sexually promiscuous. So just from experience, I wouldn't deal with that. I'm currently at where I'm trying to truly show God that I learned from my ways, because in the Bible it says that man should not lay down with mankind, or he should be put to death. Now I don't feel like we should take that meaning literal, but I felt like for 13 years my spirit was dead. I lived in hell for 13 years because I truly never gave up that spirit. That spirit was always in me. After I had my near-death experience, after I almost died of drugs, the first time, the second time, I always still had that spirit in me. And I would try to justify it in ways like, it's somebody I love, somebody I care about, I'm not hurting nobody, I'm not messing with kids. And it's just like, you have to rid yourself of that spirit. But don't go down that road. Don't go down that road. It's not cool. Another belief I have is when you have contact with somebody sexually, you become part of them. Whatever they are, whoever they are, that they become part of you. I've noticed something because I was watching this guy on here, pretty good channel. Forgot his name. It's Rashad. Rashad something, but he's from Atlanta, and he has a very similar story to me. He has a very similar story to me, but he himself was saying how he was thinking about transitioning into a woman. He was dressing up in women's clothing, and one pattern I noticed is this: he slept with trans women. And the point I'm trying to make is, when you sleep with somebody, when you exchange bodily fluids, you become part of that. You become part of them inside of you. I really feel this way. Let me explain something. I really feel like over time, the more you sleep around with different genders, I'm not trying to sound flippant or anything, but let's just say you start off with like trans women. Over time, your sexuality may expand to other genders, and I feel that comes from sleeping with different genders. Like if you sleep with the male, then you sleep with the non-binary, you sleep with a trans, you sleep with a whatever, it's going to expand because you're exchanging. You become part of who you're with. So just think about it. You sleep with a trans woman, it's a good possibility that their nature may be transmitted onto you. So, because I'm not trans at all, but I just felt really different. I felt really different after last year, when this year turned over, like the middle of this year. I just felt man, I don't want to really get in. I don't want to talk about it, but don't go after the wrong type. As a male, find the right kind of woman. don't mess around with prostitutes. Don't mess around with loose women. They're not the right type. Don't mess around with girls that have a large a huge sexual history. If you have a hatred of women, don't mess around with trans women. Don't mess around with men with women traits, or just men. Period. Don't do it, because you're just going to add more problems to yourself. Because these people, they're not right. They're not all there. They have emotional, they have mental and emotional problems, and I myself do myself. But you can't build a union with someone with problems themselves. You have to find the right woman, and sometimes church is the right place, or sometimes God will give you the right woman if he feels you're worthy of it. If you're not the type that will, because another thing about going to church, I can't walk into church on Saturday and do wrong during the week, and then step inside of a church on Saturday. I can't do that. I have to live the part 24/7. Because not watching porn or touching myself is not hard. It's really, for the longest, it's really just been that spirit that I've been trying to fight, and I finally I defeated it. But it wasn't easy, because understand this. I'm gonna say this again. That gay spirit is not just, it doesn't just boil down to having sex with men, touching yourself, watching gay porn. It's what you think about. It's your thoughts. It's your looking at men, thinking about them, fantasizing about them, watching what you watch, what you wear, the food you put in your body. It's not just physical, it's also mental too. So I'm glad that I don't have that spirit in me. But as men, we have to be with the right women. I'm at this point where, like I said, in life, I'm trying to heal. I'm trying to recover from childhood trauma, and God's going to get me there. It's not going to be easy. But this is just a PSA out here. Don't, because my mom told me this before, don't go that way. Because that people don't want to talk about it, but that's why